Billy, the Capitals got swept.
Feels good.
It's not relevant to the video, but just wanted to say that.
Yeah, the Red Wings officially won more games in an entire season, with the other one having 4 more games to play. And we didn't make the
That's
playoffs.
but instead we're gonna look today, because we can't really talk about Red Wings playoffs, unfortunately, because a team with fewer wins than us had to go and take that spot only to get swept and embarrassed. We are going to be looking back at the season, at each player on the roster and tiering them, not necessarily like, oh, best player in S tier, worst player in D tier, but we're gonna use each player. We're gonna use the context of our expectation and see where they kind of fell, how happy we are with their performance this year. You think that's a decent explanation?
That's a really good explanation. I think it's very important to stress again that we are not going off just points, because everyone could just go to NHL.com and filter by points and be like, this guy's the best. That's S tier for sure. We're not doing that.
Sure.
We're taking in consideration expectations, general feel more than just points, which I think is very important in evaluating players. And yeah, I'm excited to do this.
All right. So I'm gonna be real with you. I ain't gonna hide it. Some of these dudes look like default Sims characters, and I'm not 100% sure which one they are, but most of them I got. So we'll start with one that I absolutely can recognize: Daniel Sprong. David Perron.
So my general feelings on him were that my worries were true. I was worried he was going to lose a step. I thought he was going to be a little slow. And in 5-on-5 hockey, we absolutely saw it. We saw that the dump and chase style with him was not really working out. It felt like whenever he tried to use his body to shield off the puck, it wasn't working. He lost, I wouldn't even doubt, 85% of those. It was never really going his way. But the redeeming side, power play job.
There was a dark spot in the season for the power play.
Yep. Okay, I thought you might say more. I'm sorry.
Yep. No, okay. I thought you were going, and I was just giving a thought of like, yeah, there was a dark spot in the season of the power play though, and then you'd be like, yeah, but the power play and this, that, and the other thing.
Okay. Overall, I think I might put him in the D, because I'm trying to look elsewhere around this roster and think like what would validate a C. And yeah, he played well. He had heart. He obviously is supposed to be that veteran voice in the room, but I think it's one of the things that kind of went missing when Dylan Larkin went missing. So I'm not necessarily looking at our young guys to be able to step in those spots. I was hoping that, a David Brown would be able to get the boys fired up for that. And it just didn't seem like it happened. So I'm putting him in D.
All right, let's try something a little bit more positive. What about a Compher?
See, you're starting polarizing now, because you're talking to a Compher truther. I think that's what the kids say nowadays, is being a truther on someone. And I'm going to put him in B. I think that as a number 2 center, you can complain about that contract all you want. I think he's like the 36th highest paid center in the league. And there are so many of those centers that are signed on the same roster already that are like in the top 15 or whatever it is. So I'm not even holding him to, he has to be like the 35th best center in the league or whatever. I think his offensive showing exceeded my expectations, and his defensive showing met expectations. So I'm going to put him a little above average. I'm going to give Compher a solid B.
I want to throw in our first A tier.
Yeah.
Because it's not quite an S tier, but Patrick Kane coming in, he surpassed expectations.
Yep.
I remember when the signing happened, and it was all about, well, he's coming off. No one's ever come off a surgery and really looked that good after getting this surgery. It's a new. There was all this worry that he wasn't going to be him, and yeah, it took him a second, but once he clicked,
yep,
it just looked like Patrick Kane. Like, yeah, it was a little bit of a different Patrick Kane, but it didn't look like a Patrick Kane that's done. Like, no one is going into this offseason saying Patrick Kane might be retiring. It's a question of where's he going to play.
Yep.
And that dude was a difference maker for the Wings. That's an A tier performance. And I'm incredibly happy with Patrick Kane this year.
Yes,
I want him back.
Yeah. And we're going to talk more about that at some point here this summer for free agency open.
All right. Let's go. Do you have a preference? Maybe let's do an easy one.
Billy Husso, I mean, you got to just put it in D, right? Because you and I were defending him super hard because the team was not playing well in front of him, but we also recognized he himself wasn't playing very well. And when you miss as many games as he did, it's hard to really think about the good times earlier in the season. But yeah, just very unfortunate that we thought that it was going to be a solid season for Husso to be able to have the two backups that he had in Reimer and Lyon and not have to play 60 games in the year and see what happens if he only plays 40. And I believe we only saw him play like 20 something or so through that time. So it's really just an unfortunate thing because you see goalies go through hot and cold streaks through a season, and it kind of felt like we got him in a lukewarm for the time that we did had him and then lost him. So it's a really small sample size, but it feels like D would be pretty fitting.
James Reimer, and tell me why it's at least a B tier.
It has to be a B, right?
Right.
Dude, he won us games that we absolutely needed to win. Like, I am not going to discredit him going into Toronto in a must-win game and getting an OT win. I don't care they scored 5. I don't care that we had to score 6 to win or whatever it was. Doesn't matter. He got the win. In other instances through the season, he came up big. He had some low lows, some high highs, but for what we expected that we were going to need from him, yeah, he exceeded it.
He would be an A tier, but he ducked under the puck in Sweden.
Yep. And unfortunately, that's Ottawa's best highlight of the year. I don't know if anyone else
number one highlight of the season.
Honestly, no. Like, as soon as we missed the playoffs, the biggest thing Sens fans had for themselves was, hey, when we bat the puck out of the air and he ducked in Sweden, it means they missed the playoffs. That's a win for us. Set your bar higher, Ottawa. Please, God. Go on. We shouldn't be their bar, right? I'm sorry.
I feel like Ottawa fans have gotten under your skin a little bit
because they're dumb. Your expectation shouldn't be to be better than a team that missed the playoff 2 years in a row. But I guess when you're at the bottom that long, we've been there too. Our bar isn't to only be better than you; it's to make the playoffs. Sorry,
it's all good. All right, pretty sure this one's Sherratt.
Oh boy. I personally, and I want to get your feedback on this. Yes.
I don't have anywhere to put him here. I'll just put him back here.
I really want to put him in B, man. I do, like, in my heart. And I think the only reason I do
contract.
The only reason I want to put him in B is because of how much hate he gets. The hate makes him think that everyone is an F. Yeah, it kind of is. I'm telling you, I'm like doing it to like counter the amount of hate that I see on this guy. And man, I don't get it.
So realistically,
it's a C.
Without the spite, he's a C. All right, yes. We'll have some, journalistic integrity. Yeah, put him in the C tier.
Integrity.
All right, well, let's be a little happier. Let's look at probably our only S tier.
Yes, I think it's a lock for the only S. Man, we had what I believe to be high expectations for him already. We thought that he might be hitting that like low 20s in goals and be happy with it and say, yeah, for a guy in his third year, so young, like breaking 20 goals is nice. It's significant. It's success. Gosh, he went out and broke 30. And when we needed him to be scoring, he was scoring. When Larkin's out,
late in the year, absolutely.
Yeah, when you're trying, like those 2 games where he had like the back-to-back game winners, right? Or no, he had one to tie it late, and then he had the other game winner. That is star stuff, man. That is star poo-poo that he's doing out there late in that year. And I know that it's a general thing in sports. You always think that your young players are going to get better. You always do. This guy literally has every single year. We have not seen him take a step back whatsoever. He's fearless. He is our S. He is our star.
That would be the guy that, you know, if you are someone who believes you're not going to get Kane back, you're hoping the production is made up that next year Raymond is your goal scorer.
Yep.
And that Larkin can feed him or DeBrincat, depending on. I mean, you already know if Lalone comes back next year, we're not going to have the same lines 2 nights in a row. So you never know. Larkin could be feeding Raymond one day. He could be feeding DeBrincat, and I think it could really, it could
work
be
out.
Top
Top line for all we know. We're underestimating his potential.
I feel like we're unnecessarily sour today, and I don't know why. Like, all right, I'm gonna keep picking ones that I can identify, and when we get to the point where I don't know who's left, that's when I'll leave it to you. So I'm gonna keep picking people I know for sure. We got Petri over here.
Oh man, you gotta throw him in D, right? Overall, it was underwhelming. There were high points. He had some nice goals. He contributed here or there, but man,
people hate Petri.
Yeah, and I don't get on board the hate. I get on
You know his
board
dad
with
played
the
baseball for the Tigers?
No, can you tell me more?
No.
This is the first time I'm hearing of this.
Turn on any Wings game on Bally. Oh wait.
Do you think whenever they talk about his dad on like the Tigers broadcast, do you know his kid plays for the Red Wings?
Not once.
Not once. Okay, so
maybe opening day.
It's just us that have to be burdened with that. Because I'm not.
It's like Matt Stafford and Clayton Kershaw went to the same school or whatever it was.
Yep, every national game here. Yeah, D feels comfortable because man, how he continued to play in that losing stretch baffles me. I still have yet to come to terms with it and to truly understand how and why he stayed in that lineup. And there are a lot of people that I've seen on Twitter try to explain it in those scenarios of what seem to be complete just bonehead mistakes. That's going to happen. I feel like it happens to every hockey player. You go, ooh, why would you do that? But when it happens like 2 or 3 times in like 5 or 6 games, and they're legitimately the reason why you're losing those games, and we can obviously tell how important each last little point is. They explained it that it was Lalone's system that he was actually following correctly. I don't know if I buy that, because like if so, then the system's really stupid.
So, the system might be stupid though.
It might be stupid, but yeah, I'm gonna toss him down in the D.
All right. Daniel Sprong. We had high hopes for this signing, and it kind of had bright spots.
Yes, it did.
I think that's a D.
You think it's a D? I'll follow you there because I was gonna say C because again,
I feel like he came up a little under.
Scorer, yeah,
I don't
really
know.
I
mean, he did perform worse. We looked before this. He did perform worse. I mean, I would say we expected him to have a better year than when he was in Seattle.
Yes.
And he had a worse year. So, I mean, yeah, he definitely. I mean, it's not bad enough to have an F, which I'm not 100% sure if we have an F. We'll see that. I feel like if Petri didn't make it to F, then it'd be tough. I have a secret F. I actually have a secret F, but
I have an F.
We'll get there. Okay. All right. Let's see. This one, Cop.
Oh man, I think it's just a safe C. Like 3rd line center, played defensively well. Again, a couple like solid offensive performances. I think there was a few times there was him, Fisher, and Raz were kind of carrying the team through a stretch here or there, and it's not what you expect out of your 3rd line to be able to do something like that. I love him on the PK. I love having confidence in our penalty killers, having someone like Seider out there that you know is going to sell out the body. The same thing with Wallman. I love having our centers that can go out there and do their jobs. Larkin, Compher and Cop all do it. So I want to give that credit. Yeah, I think he did fine.
I feel like he was kind of invisible for me. I know he played some solid role in like the penalty kill, but maybe I had an unrealistic expectation for him by now, but that's probably a me thing. Or maybe I was influenced by other Red Wings fans.
Yeah.
This is Lion.
Oh boy,
This one fluctuated.
it did, and that's why
This
I
dude
feel
was like borderline A S tier for like a few weeks. It felt like he was out of nowhere stepping up.
I am completely okay with putting him in A or B. And if I'm being honest with you, I
would
lean
support
A.
that.
Yeah.
Because if you're going off what your expectation would be on the signing, that's totally fair.
Yep.
And honestly, I would even revisit Reimer then. Because if we don't want to forget what this is based on, that this is based on our expectation. We had no expectation that Reimer was going to have to do what he did. And he stepped up. I would go so far as to say that Lion and Reimer, even if you change, like even factoring in the slight change in expectation, I think in terms of what we were expecting versus what they ended up having to do and what they ended up doing, I would put the fight. I would leave Lion to be the higher one, but I would put up the fight that they have both earned it considering the expectations.
I think I'm going to fight you back a little bit. And I am going to use the end of season results for him in that I believe he was an under 500 goalie. And I think that we were hoping that he would be 500. I am giving him the B because of how clutch he came up when we needed him at the end. But overall, is an entire season, I'm going to try to fight for the B back. But if you're
third string guy, our third string where we're like, we're signing a Reimer, steps in and gives us the chance to make the playoffs, and you're going to do him like that. I feel like it's disrespect, and now I feel like he's not going to come on the show. If he was going to, but I'll give it to you back. But I feel like both those goalies stepped up when this guy, I'm not going to say what the meme is in the Discord, but when this happened, these two collectively made it so we had any season to cheer for.
I agree. And that's why I feel like I'm comfortable with the A and B between the two of them.
Okay. I'm going to tell him he said that.
Gonna shoot him a text?
This one's Oli Mata.
Oli Mata, I feel like wasn't given, I don't want to use the term a fair shake on the season. It's kind of one of those, if your third or second line defenseman here or there are invisible, it's probably a good thing. Probably means they aren't screwing up too much. I mean, he didn't really contribute too much offensively, but I felt comfortable with him. I don't want to use the word confident, and I would just throw him in the C. I think he did his job. I think he did it well.
Yeah. It was kind of a non-factor for me, but yeah, he didn't. I didn't go into the season with very high expectations for him. F it. Dylan Larkin.
No, do not F it. Do not F that.
Gross.
Oh man. I almost just talked myself into the S. And only because how night and day this team is without him.
If you're talking MVP status of how important he is to the team, I could totally see if you remove either one of these two that you have an S tier, your season is completely destroyed.
Yep. Yeah,
so yeah, that's fair.
I'm very happy with having him up there. The captain obviously sparked something.
We're having such a rough year, like personal life, injury life.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about the personal life.
Yes.
Oh man.
He has had such a terrible year that for him to still be such a factor whenever he was coming back and be what fueled this team, being the heart of the team, S tier.
Yep. No more discussions.
All right. Let's do DeBrincat.
Oh.
I feel like I'll see where you end up, but the highest I feel like I could go is C tier.
It sucks.
I would understand a D tier, but the high, because like if you're averaging out his performance, I feel like it's easier to see C tier. But I feel like he went quiet
when we needed him,
when this team needed him, and that's the part where if he would have been even just a little bit more of that guy, we're in the playoffs.
You put it that way. Because I was with you. The highest I was going to say was a C, and that it was meeting expectations. And I don't want to sound like 27 goals is not an accomplishment, because it is.
Yeah, it's really about how it happened. Is he was really hot, and then during that stretch, we all know that the priority month, when that month happened,
that
was one of the guys that went.
I like that.
Huh?
I like
the
what you said. The priority month.
Because
Watching
this knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what the era should go down as. I think you just locked it in, established it. The priority month.
So the priority month happened, and this is a guy that did not show up. This is a guy you expect to go in and play the Coyotes twice in a week, and you expect he's going to be a reason that your team is going to win that game. But he didn't step up.
And
but
just to play,
he heavily stepped up in tight bunches at the beginning of the year, which averaged it out, which is why I would totally understand in terms of overall, like, that little bit of a bunch is cool and all, but you know, if you win a game, I don't know. I'm not gonna go that far, but like, I could see, I feel like I could make the argument that I did expect more from him, and he didn't meet that.
I'm okay with putting him here. Ultimately, I am.
I expect him to be better next year.
Yes, to be a DeBrincat apologist, I think that line shuffling has to be difficult for what I would ultimately deem, as of right now in his career, a pretty one-dimensional player.
Yeah.
I think when you're shuffling him around and you have him with Kane sometimes, you have him with Larkin other times, and you're trying to put him with Compher, where I don't think him and Compher are going to mesh very well. I think they're both like good at individual different things, but when you put them together, it's hard for them to succeed. So I feel like that's a safe place.
Justin Hall.
So this is my F. And I only say that because I am only led to speculate as to why he was not playing over Jeff Petri. It only leaves room for speculation as to how you in practice are not proving yourself to be better than Petri. I think when we've seen Hall, I think what we have seen is a C. I think he was what I expected him to be. I thought he was fine. I think he deserved his shots, but why isn't he out there? Why isn't he getting the chance to do any of that? So ultimately on a season, if you're getting, snubbed out for Jeff Petri, I think you have to be F, which sucks because I don't think that's the quality of player he is. I don't think that would define him or what he could be in the future, but coaching decisions literally never gave him a shot to even just be a C.
I'm with you. And I feel like that sucks because he was someone that we kind of vouched for.
I still stand
if given the chance, no, I get it. I'm saying, like, if given the chance, we felt like he could have been, a system player, someone who fit the role that he was, assigned. Didn't need to go out there and be a stud. Didn't need to be a top defenseman. But then it brings you to the point where you're like, okay, how much do you trust the staff? Like, are you more? Do you believe stronger that Hall should have played, or do you believe stronger that the Red Wings staff was probably making the right call?
I mean,
it knew something we didn't.
Maybe it's just my own ignorance, but I like to side on what I've seen in the 38 games that he did play justified him being a third line defenseman over Petri in that 8 to 10 game stretch, the priority month. How he doesn't make his way in baffles me. It really feels like a complete mismanagement during that time is why we are talking about this and not hopefully coming up from 1-3 down to the Rangers.
Fabry.
Well, we talked about how much crap we gave him for being injured. So I want to give him props for staying healthy this year. I know he missed a little stretch at the start. Immediate thoughts are C.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would have
he
been
scored
lower.
some goals.
Early in the year, it felt like he was getting injured a lot, but then it's what it felt like earlier, and that's when the jokes were happening. On the Discord, he was constantly getting hurt every time he came back, but then he spent most of the year healthy, and he was scoring some goals. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. He has our goal, or I'm sorry, probably not goal of the year, because goal of the year is probably going to Raymond, or even the final goal of the year with how much excitement that brought. But as for pure flash goal, he has the goal of the year. I mean, yeah, this is what I wanted out of him. The third or second line scorer, and he absolutely did it. So, like, I feel like some people might see C as bad, and I want to stress that C is like good.
Yeah, C is meets expectations.
Yeah.
And then there's different levels of exceeding them or, not. All right. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Obviously, I know one of these is 100%. There's two here. Two of these can be Wallman to me. Two of them are Wallman, and it's one of these two. And I'm going to go... I want to go Wallman. I think I remember from the bobblehead. All right. Yeah. So shout out bobblehead for reminding me what his face looked like.
I want to give him a B. I think he's just done a great job through the year. What the things that I did not want to give him credit for being, I think he completely threw back in at least my face of me saying like, oh yeah, he's not too defensively minded or anything like that. Dude, he sold his body so often to block shots that I can't not respect it and give it credit where it's due. He showed up offensively. I know that injuries started to plague him towards the end, or sickness, one of the two, where he was missing some of the bigger games for us. But I love the way that he plays with Seider. I love that role that he can play for us, where it feels like Sherrod, Petri, Mata, no one else really meshes with Seider that well, that you do need someone that leans a little more offensive, like a woman. So I'm comfortable with B.
Is Veleno? Veleno.
This is a really tough one, because for a while, man, he was exceeding. But I will say, I don't remember watching and thinking to myself, what is Veleno doing? Like I had in the past. I don't remember watching and believing that he was like solely responsible for the breakdown that I saw or missing anything. But he also didn't shine offensively. It's like a C.
For me, I almost lean B purely on the fact that he wasn't even in our start. Like we literally thought he wasn't going to make the team.
That's a really good point.
Like
I'm good with B then.
Like it's literally only because the expectations were so low. We thought he was a cut. So like, and it's not like we thought he should be cut. It was that the whole RFA situation was going. He just wasn't getting a contract. So we just assumed he wasn't even going to be on the team. So for him to come back and not really like disappoint feels B worthy.
Yep.
All right, Billy. I'm ready to get controversial. And I mean it.
You mean
if we're going off expectations, that's my rookie of the year defenseman. That's my hopefully, future award-winning defenseman. That's my dude who's supposed to be like the anchor that's supposed to be my sure thing. I watched this dude trip on nothing at least a half a dozen times this season. At least. Just falling. I've seen this dude turn the puck over more times than I would have ever thought to have seen him of all people. That was someone who in his rookie year I thought was going to be my sure-handed guy. And since we're recording this differently, I can't see your face right now. So I don't know if you agree with me or not. Say something.
I
purely expectations.
I can't go that far. Like
what?
So I would go for a C or for like a D if you're disappointed. An F to me.
C is insulting that he met your expectations for the year.
It's not like, so what are we judging on? Like, based on purely what we have seen out of him, right? And like his defensive capabilities. Because like I don't think of him as offensive,
and as
so
a
I'm not
puck
looking
moving
at points.
defenseman, which I feel like is a fair expectation from what we've seen from him.
F.
Yes, there's only 2
Complete
spots.
failure?
It just sounds harsh because it's the letter F. It's only 2 from meets expectations.
Saying he's on par with Justin Hall in this, like.
Well, okay,
Petri.
Listen, if there was a lower one, it'd be like this. It'd be like this. If it was evenly, because to be fair, our meets expectation isn't in the middle. Like in total fairness, here, hold on. I got you.
Oh,
is that better?
Gosh, I am not more disappointed with Seider than I am Petri.
Done.
I'm not more disappointed with Seider than I am Petri or Perron. Like, I would put him on par with like a Cat. Sure.
I feel like there's a struggle here of like I'm not saying he's worse. I'm saying that I had a higher expectation for Seider this year that he fell below.
I'm saying the same thing of, to my expectation, he did not like drop that hard in relation to those other guys.
That's fine. You know what? I'm not here to change anyone's mind. I'm just
in the video.
This is
I
how I
want
feel.
you to put your face next to that picture of Seider and not mine, because I don't think that.
Listen, I feel how I feel, and you know what? I'll say it. I had I think I just had higher expectations for Seider this year. I think that's what it is.
I could agree.
I think we both saw the same negative this year. I think I just had a higher expectation.
Okay, we can meet on that then. We can meet on that ground.
All right, this is where it's gonna get tough. Boy, I'm gonna say, is one of these Costin?
No.
Or Jarnik?
Nope.
Wait, we don't have a Jarnik picture?
No.
Why?
Wasn't on the starting roster on ESPN.
So we just don't have them. Okay.
All right, for Jarnik, it's a C. Good job, bud. You came up and
dude, I wouldn't even notice. If these guys were at Aldi, I wouldn't even glance at hockey players. I swear to God, are like some of the least recognizable humans.
Oh, but Josh, that's why they wear visors, is so that you can recognize them and put an identity to the player. You're telling me it doesn't work for you?
Yeah, I thought that's why they put numbers on the helmet. That's what I was told. I was told that's why the numbers were on the fronts, because you couldn't tell who they were. Man. All right, give me a name of one of them and I'll assign it.
What should I pick? One is Ghost.
Oh, this guy.
Yep.
All right.
Defensively,
trash.
It's probably a D. Offensively, it's probably a B.
That sounds like a C in my book.
Yeah. Dude, his jump though. You want to jump him up the list for his jump?
Oh, dude, saved our season. Dude, that saved the season.
Higher.
All right, listen, if you could put him in S tier, I could put him in priority. Let's not start this fight.
Oh my God, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to start like...
We got to make trades.
Yeah, I would put him either in B or C, depending on how you feel.
I mean, the Odell catch alone puts him in B.
Okay.
That was too good. All right, what's one of their names?
One is Raspberry.
It's got to be this guy. This dude looks way too old to be Raz. Who's this guy?
Christian Fischer.
Oh, that's an easy D. All right, what are we doing with Raz?
What?
Raz, okay.
You go back. You go back. Well, I guess he sits in priority for now. Yep. Sorry, Raz. You're not there, I promise you. But Christian Fischer, I think you got to throw him in B.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. He's not someone I took a lot of notice of, so I take your word for it.
I don't think we bring him back. Let me stress that. But when it comes to performance and expectation, he's there. I think he did a good job of him to do.
All right. I'm excited to hear where you put Raz. I feel like only
Want to be
people
high on Raz.
who have been with the channel, like in the Discord all year, will appreciate however this goes. If you were someone who used to be in our Discord, where would he put him?
Oh yeah, you'd be priority.
Priority for sure. Well, where would you have Raz? Kind of satisfying to move him around like this. I wish it
This
like
feels
clicked.
like honestly the toughest one for myself. I think I would go D. I think my
Wow.
expectation for him to have more of a presence with his size was disappointing. I think general offensive presence was C kind of deal. Um, I I don't think that with the players that are in front of him, like Larkin, Compher, and Cop, that he was ever able to really shine at what he was great at the past of being what I believe to be a really good two-way center for us. So we had him playing at wing a lot, which I know a lot of people are very happy about. I think that's literally just because you have a tremendous number 3 center in the league. I just wish he used his body a little more. And I don't mean it that he has to be a rempy. I'm not saying it that he has to go out and check people. But on a power play, deadly on a Knights, on a Rangers, with the way that they can run their power plays, it feels like he has a place in hockey to do that. And we just don't use him that way. So I'm giving him a bit of the Hall apologist, but still recognizing that for the season, it was a bit of an underperformance. Sucks that he got injured, but that feels like a solid place for him.
Yeah, I feel really good about our list. I feel like everyone's exactly where they should be.
I disagree on one, but that's okay.
Oh,
It makes me
the lion and Reimer thing. Yeah,
it makes me when I look at this as a final, it makes me want to move someone from D. And
that's fine.
I really feel like in that group, I look at Petri or Perron. But I don't think I can do Perron because man, he had some clutch performances in there.
Yeah,
It just felt like
I'm with you. I mean, we did it. We had to, and again, that's probably something we should have accounted for. Meets expectations should have been in the middle instead of technically favoring the bottom.
yeah.
Because then I feel like then it skews a little bit. But now that is there anyone else now that we've got a more spread out? Is there anybody else that you want to scoot around now that we've got this C is truly in the middle?
S's are solid, A's are solid, B's really solid, C's solid, D's nuts solid.
Nice.
E I disagree with, and yeah, just the priority one exists just because of opportunity.
You don't have to say you disagree every time you get to this one, because I don't say I disagree every time I pass up here, and I think Reimer should be an A tier. All right, this is a team effort.
I'll put Reimer A if you put Seider D.
Deal.
Beautiful. Any objections?
I liked how symmetrical it was before we did that.
All right, move Perron or Sprong down.
All right, fair enough. Well, it'd be really nice if we could get
two more players to put on the list.
Yeah, where would you put Lalone?
Oh God.
We don't have a picture. Here, let's just pretend Hall is Lalone.
Gotta be D. We're just YouTubers. Don't know better than
Anything.
than honestly, most. We're here for fun and conversation. And I think that's why you're here in this video too, is to get down in the comments and just kind of enjoy a community aspect. For that, we also have a Discord. So please join the Discord and find a way to entertain ourselves through hockey winter. We're about to go a long period of time where nothing's going to be interesting for the Red Wings for a long while. Honestly, the team that we were watching in the playoffs to fail did. We're going into we're going into a draft lottery with a 0.5% chance at the number 1 pick. So we're probably picking number 15 or 16, which ultimately does not lead to a whole lot of hype with whoever we draft.
If we fall the 1 pick, I swear to God.
There's not too much coming up the pipeline in terms of Red Wings news and conversations. So just surround yourself with some good people in the Discord.
See you in the Discord. See you in the next one.
I waved too early. Can't wave at the same time because we're not seeing each other. I got to go on. Here we go.
Right, here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Subscribe.
My hand went off the screen. I used the wrong hand.
The wave or the subscribe?
Hand.
There you go.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.